I was going through some old videos and I realized that it's been a long time since I did what's kind of a segment I like to call Scott Reed's Crazy Crap from the Internet. So, we're going to dive right in because I got a couple things. I'm going to do one now and I'm going to do another. It's been a long time. I did a How to Get a Husband in 1958, and it's been on the channel for forever. And I recommend, if you haven't watched it, go watch it because it is funny. But today, from Bold magazine, nurse claims she was secretly hypnotized to fart all the time while working at hospital. I love this stuff. Okay, a British nurse attempting to sue the National Health Service has claimed that she was hypnotized in order to fart at work and feels that the disturbances were so serious that they led to frequent flatulence during her shifts and feeling as though her private parts were being attacked. And she went on to insist she was being gaslighted through the use of low-frequency sound waves, according to My London. Yeah, for real. Okay, now keep in mind, as we read all of this, this is a licensed practicing nurse in the healthcare system. This is a serious statement as to what kind of person manages to get a job in the healthcare system. Of course, we know that anyone who works in healthcare, there is a propensity for people to have had healthcare issues are more likely to work in healthcare, just as people who have had technology issues are more likely to work in IT, and people who have had car issues are more likely to become a mechanic or an automotive engineer, and so forth. The things you've been exposed to are careers you tend to go into simply because you've had exposure to them more than normal people. So it's natural that healthcare workers are more likely to have had healthcare issues, but that these are the people we entrust to take care of people who can't take care of themselves and often need to dispense health advice is a bit scary. We need to have a pretty high bar when someone's in a position that could kill us. So she started off by alleging her name is Samson. She alleged that poor heating and ventilation led to her terrible experience. The symptoms that she experienced made her feel she was being possessed. She explained that this was because she was a victim of ideomotor phenomenon, which is a form of hypnosis that forces people to move unconsciously. Her bosses had been concerned about her going back to April of 2019. I'm not exactly sure when this event occurred, but the news is just a few weeks old, supposedly. So in theory, this has been going on for a while. She had symptoms had been described as being extremely bothersome by her bosses. They said, I would like to report an observed pattern of likely inappropriate use of hypnosis. She said this to her bosses, that she would like to report an observed pattern of likely inappropriate use of hypnosis and ideomotor phenomenon in my workplace. In the last 3 months that I have worked in the department, I have experienced odd symptoms which I think is likely related to the above phenomenon. She doesn't explain why she thinks that, but that's what she tells them. Overall, she refused to believe that maybe mental health was the issue, which is, again, a problem for a nurse who should be aware that mental health issues could be a problem and that people with mental health issues will deny it. The fact that she denied it should have triggered her nurse brain to say, ooh, I probably have it. That is her job. Now, it is difficult to self-diagnose, but it would not be for her to diagnose, but to not refute. As a nurse, she should have known not to refute other people's diagnostics. I am a healthy individual and do not have any past medical history, but recently I have had various symptoms, including headaches, breathing difficulty, a feeling of getting choked, and gastrointestinal disturbances, borborygmus, spasms, and flatulence. I do not know that one word at all. This also includes having slurs similar to that of being possessed, as in paranormal phenomenon. I have also noticed this in some of my patients and colleagues at work. Right, they're mental health patients, just to be clear. It becomes extremely bothersome and a distraction at work. I imagine it does. It also involves a feeling of being attacked in various parts of the body, including that of one's private part, which I feel is very inappropriate. Now, it's unclear how she thinks this was happening or why she's blaming things like the heating and ventilation systems. In her email, she says that control is achieved in this ideomotor phenomenon, and her altered state of consciousness comes from poorly controlled thermoregulation, or heating, she explains, and inadequate ventilation. She worked in the basement, And she claimed that she had lots of stress and anxiety that may make her more susceptible to hypnotism. She then thinks that she's being gaslit by sound waves. In the same email, she points out that a van in the parking lot nearby where she works carries what appears to be audio equipment, as vans generally do. And she thinks that that is helping to give her flatulence or make her feel things in her nether regions. She was referred for psychiatric help by the hospital. They attempted to get her to see a psychiatrist, but she refused. She claimed that she was sensitive to electromagnetic radiation. She was specifically sensitive to it, and that the psychosis diagnostics from multiple doctors was incorrect. Eventually, she was suspended and eventually fired because she refused to get medical attention. I will include the link below. This is pretty good though. She really believed and doubled down as a medical professional. A working medical professional believed she was hypnotized to fart by the heating and ventilation system, and that she was somehow gaslighted, but we're not sure about what, through audio waves from a van parked outside of the ward where she works. She doesn't explain why it only happened to her or to patients in the basement. But yeah, so that is our Scott Reed's Crazy Things from the Internet for the day. I hope you enjoyed it.